What can I do? What can I do to the to get rid of the echo, Mooch?
Put a plastic bag over your head.
Yeah, and go to sleep.
And just breathe.
And welcome to another episode of the Three Speech Podcast. This is the Mad Lad.
Why are you being weird?
Ooh. I don't know. How am I being weird? I'm just trying to start.
You sound like you're doing it. You're Harry Potter. Harry Potter doing it under
No, you sound like Anne Frank
staircase.
podcasting.
Because the guy's asleep upstairs. I don't want to wake him up.
Oh, I see.
Why are they sleeping?
Fucking, I don't know why he's got to go to bed so early.
What time is it there?
Midnight.
What? Wake him up on camera, like in the style of Jackass, or what's his name, Bam Margera, like he did to his parents. Just go in there and just start beating them up, and just go. It's a prank.
Do you want to just explain where you are, Darius?
I'm coming to you live. Parts unknown. No, actually, this time it's parts known. I'm coming to you from Perth, Australia, where I'm doing the Fringe. I've been homeless for days, but now I'm in. Someone kindly pick me up. I have to be quiet.
What is it like being homeless? So you went over to Australia, but you didn't have a place to stay sorted out.
No. I booked the place, and on the 18th of January, the place cancelled because I cancelled it. So then I was homeless.
Because they Googled your name.
Why did they cancel it?
This guy's not going to be afford to settle his bill.
Because so I thought, let me have a look, and I thought I found a better deal, so I cancelled the one I had. Then I realised I made a huge mistake. Then I had no apartment.
You cancelled?
Yeah, I can't say that it was.
Well, you said
I can't say I did it because because otherwise I would have looked shit.
Well, what was the better deal? What happened to the better deal?
Well, it turned out that I was mistaken, and it wasn't actually $200 a month. It was $200 a week or something.
But $200 a week is super cheap.
Yeah, but I wanted $200 a month.
So where were you going to be staying for $200 a week? Why didn't you just get that?
Because it doesn't exist, does it? I mean, basically, I booked a hostel, some random hostel, and it was like 25 people in a room. Then I thought, wait a minute, maybe I don't have to stay
it would have been better to record in there than it is where you are right now.
Yeah, are you also not allowed to use light in Australia?
Should I?
I mean, it's like a broadcasting from the Arctic Circle.
Should I go do it in the room upstairs? But it might wake him up. But it's pretty loud here anyway.
Why don't you turn the light on?
The light's
not going to go up the stairs and fucking... The light's on!
Why are you this way around?
Yeah,
Simon, can you edit it so Darius is upside down for the entire pod?
Shall I go upstairs? I'm going to risk it.
Turn the light on.
I'm going to risk it. The light is on. I'll give you hold on. I'll give you a tour as well of the place.
So wait,
I go upstairs.
No, because we can't see anything. And
yeah, you'll be able to see when the light's on.
How do you have better internet in the middle of Perth, Australia, fucking halfway across the world than you do normally when you're at home somewhere in parts unknown, not in Pimlico, Scotland?
Because it's obviously not my house.
Perth is in a modern country.
Fair enough.
So do you want Darius, you went over there, you arranged to stay in a hostel, like 25 sweaty backpackers and sweaty you.
Yes.
And then
this is all your fault.
Did you stay in the hostel?
This is all your fault. Listen, for the listeners, Leo knows, and he knows this for a fact, that this is all his fault. Usually Leo comes out to Perth and I just stay with him wherever he's staying. He understands that's his job to find me accommodation. This year, I've been left to fend for myself.
You're like symbiotic organisms, like the sharks that have like all these little like fish that feed off them, or like plankton. And
Darius feeds off my anus.
Oh
dear, my baby's crying.
Your sound's gone bad again.
I don't know why I left her sit. Wait, is my sound? How's my sound now?
It's same. It's gone fucked. It's gone
bad.
Oh, you're doing it off the pod.
For fuck's sake.
Does that time out? Is it running out of battery?
No, you should have plenty of battery. It's got plenty of battery.
The light's turned off. The light's turned off on it.
No, it's not.
Is it working?
Yeah,
it's just turned
working
back on
fine
now. Anyway, how's your
that's
week
annoying.
been?
I wish somebody could just invent a microphone that just fucking works. When I record stuff, I've got to use about 5 different microphones and stuff because like they always crap out or they like get distorted.
Just buy one of these.
But you're doing
like
an
90
Ollie.
quid.
Yeah, what is it?
Why are you not using
it's
a wire?
Rode podcaster mic and a Zoom audio interface.
Zoom audio interface.
You've got one, don't you?
I've got this, whatever this pile of shit is. What's this?
That's a Zoom audio interface.
It's a Zoom. That's a Zoom audio. Okay, that's what I need to be using. Okay, well, we're learning.
Well, why can't you just plug your microphone
did you stay in a hostel, Darius?
Yes, I stayed in the hostel and some old German woman started tutting at me when I came in at 1. They're going, shh, shh. And I was like, you're in... It's a fucking hostel, bitch. If you want to stay...
Yeah.
It's like, you can't shush me at 1 in the morning. Hostel G.
Hostel what?
Hostel what?
Hostel G. That was it. That's it. That's the original name they gave it. Hostel G. I don't know what the G stands for. Actually, I should have asked.
Top G.
Top G.
Top G hostel.
That's where he'll be staying when he gets out.
I typed in hostile. Just because I was referring to bloody Darius.
Actually, I've noticed in Australia, Australians always refer to hostels as hostels, as if it's got like an extra L and an E, like it's French.
Wow.
Like it's mayonnaise. No, mayonnaise isn't right. But
look at this sex dungeon.
Hostel G.
That's where I stayed, baby.
And was
Actually,
it good?
It looks better there than it does in real life. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't so bad.
Ooh.
But it's like...
What am I doing?
Oh, well, don't let people see your desktop.
Yeah, you'll get Tom Bins.
Oh god. It's all going horribly wrong.
This is how they got Gary Glitter.
Let's Tom Bins mooch.
How does it? Primary display. Video.
Asset.
Default.
Ooh. Oh. Put it back, mooch. I was trying to look. Yeah, that's where I stayed. Hostel G.
Hostel G. Dario G.
Look at, and there was I'm top D, dude.
There we are.
D.
I can do this.
Listen, what's been going on other than my travels? What else has been happening? Mooch lost us the best podcast we ever did, Junior, last week.
Well, that was annoying. We did a great podcast.
Is it better than this one?
Oh man, definitely.
It was really good fun. We were
from the get-go to the let-go. Now we've got a 20-second delay. just
if anyone is still listening, thank you. So we had a lovely podcast last week, which I wasn't about for. I was busy, then came in later. Jonathan basically didn't press the right buttons, and we had 3 catastrophic failures. The computer ran out of memory.
We even asked Jonathan, is it recorded?
And he
what happened? Explain it to us, Mooch.
Yes.
So the computer ran out of disk space. So the eCam footage that we normally get here just was fucked. The audio recording was happening, and we can hear all of that.
I know. The weird thing is, this microphone gets more sensitive to pick it up when it hears it because it thinks that's the thing you're trying to record. Mode. It's got AI. Don't make jokes about nonsense.
I wasn't making notes. I was making jokes about microphones.
All right.
Yeah, it's about microphones. Got something to hide, have you, Leo? What? To tell us about the catastrophic failures that led to this.
What, in life and me doing this pod, or like this audio stuff?
Well, just last week with Junior.
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, it was just the audio. Like, I don't think it's very interesting, but I will bore you because it's still more interesting than this. It's basically the computer ran out of space. The backup audio, when we uploaded it, it got corrupted, and the video files were fine, but we didn't have the audio. So we could put up the sort of just the no audio video files, and any sort of listeners who can lip read will be be able to enjoy the most hilarious episode ever.
Is there any audio recorded from like secondary mics?
There is audio recorded from the cameras that's not very good.
Why don't we use that?
We can use that.
Let's use that.
Well, why don't we?
I'll send it to Simon, but it sounds awful.
Does it sound worse than this?
Use that as a
Can't sound worse than this.
It could be a Patreon. It could be Patreon special. It was a really funny episode.
It was a funny episode.
Nico was on, yeah.
Why we just
Nico called himself. You know why it was funny? Because we all took, apart from me, everybody took, because I don't need drugs to be funny, but everybody took that CBD, because Darius had just picked up a shipment, like floating in like plastic wrap in the sea, picked up in his speedboat off Miami, and this stuff made everybody funny, because everybody relaxed, stopped worrying about being a wiener.
Did anyone bother reading the contract? No. So that we could actually start doing.
I didn't.
The one thing you said you would do. Yeah, well, we need to.
But I often say things. I'm going to do stuff, and then I don't do it. All right, well, I'll read it.
House?
Yeah, let's do a tour
give us a tour of the house in complete darkness.
It's not in darkness, you moron. This is.
Are you in a Japanese horror film?
Well, I might be actually. Okay, here we go. All right.
But now Mooch is checking his phone.
No,
that's how bored he is.
He's not. This is an exciting.
Darius, this is a thrilling tour.
Yeah, it's coming.
Well, what are you filming this on? A Game Boy Color?
It's the laptop camera, obviously.
This is great, Darius.
Okay. So this is the table.
Can you turn your notification noise up, please?
That was Mooch, not me.
Oh, was that me? Sorry.
Wait, this bit's in the light. Hold on. Okay, this is the kitchen.
Wow, you got a kitchen made out of 6 pixels. That's amazing.
This is the sitting room kind of area.
Oh, it also looks dark.
You know what
and
is?
Have you just put your fucking laptop in a potato sack? We can't see. Why do you turn the light on? Why do you turn the light on?
Do you remember the game RoboCop on the Game Boy back in the day? No, it basically has the exact same sort of graphics and feel as this.
I've come to the bedroom. I'm gonna just do it in here because I think it's better.
Oh, can we clip that up?
Don't wake him up and kill me.
Clip that up. I've come to the bedroom. I'm gonna do it in here.
You know what? Okay.
This must be what it's like to be a cam girl. Just like,
yeah, what, being able to see Darius's face?
Yeah, just like as he goes, I'm gonna just do it in here. I'm gonna be quiet. Call me a naughty sausage.
I was gonna do the podcast lying down, and then I saw how ugly I looked, so I decided to sit up.
Your lack of chin.
Listen, I've got a big chin. You know what I did see this week? Did you see that girl in the gym?
Not your chin. What did you see this week?
I'll kill you. This girl on TikTok,
I love the threats whispered.
Streaming.
I'll kill you.
She was doing a live stream. It's toxic femininity. She was doing a live stream, of her doing hip thrust, right? For anyone in the world to see. Some guys in the gym literally glances at her in the background. She's like, oh, look at this fucking pervert. Feral. He's a pervert. He's looking at me, sexualizing me in the gym. It's like, you're literally fucking doing this out live broadcasting.
I saw that clip.
Loads of people to see.
First of all, she's filming him. She's filming him in the gym. So she set up the camera and he's being filmed and he's staring at me. There's like 2 or 3 glances max. And she's kind of like, she's got better audio than us, actually, to be fair. But she's got the same little device Leo's got there. And he's going, oh my God, this is terrible. I can't, I just can't even work out and film myself in a public place without being looked at like a weirdo. And then the guy basically comes over and tries to ask to use the bar or something, or tries to help her with something. And she's very polite. She goes, oh no, thank you. And then just puts this thing up online like, "Mare evil, this guy's all." Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's problems that women face in gyms where guys are like full on, just too in their face when they just want to work out. But this was not one of them. for sure.
Also, men are always going over to women in gyms and say, "Oh, I could give you advice. We've got to mansplain this bit of equipment
How to lift. Yeah.
Yeah. It must be annoying.
She could actually woman-splain how to use the bloody Rode mic that you've got there, though. That would actually be useful.
Well, maybe she should do that.
She should. Wow. But this is just one. There's been loads of these videos that come out where but people just are looking for like shit rather than just cracking on. I don't understand it.
Oh yeah,
it's because there's not much actual stuff to genuinely get upset about these days, and people need stuff to get upset about, so they've got to dig around and really scrape the barrel and find it.
Just watch this podcast. There's plenty to be upset about with this. The recording values is one. Also,
they would offend ISIS, who had excellent recording values. That's the sort of effort you put in when you're being judged by God.
To be fair, ISIS were much better than Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda had like some really poor video production.
Yeah, but that was the 90s.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Filming it in like Super 8 or something.
They had to use a talk boy.
What's a talk boy?
It was hard to get a Super 8 in.
Did you see that from
Home Alone?
Did you see it from Crowder and the Crowder Daily Wire?
Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, what happened there? I don't really understand. I don't really watch it, but I just saw someone tweet something about it.
I don't totally understand it, but basically, so Ben Shapiro set up the Daily Wire, which is this hugely successful conservative news and opinion network, sort of like Free Speech, but successful and good. And Stephen Crowder's like another guy like that, does YouTube videos or whatever, and so they offered Stephen Crowder a deal, $50 million over 4 years. Yeah, $50 million over. That's twice what I'm on at Free Speech. And Stephen Crowder picked through the contract he was doing some sort of live stream or YouTube or whatever, and he picked through the contract saying, "Oh, look, they say if the YouTube videos get demonetized because of something I say," because he gets demonetized quite a lot because he says stuff that skirts along the edge of what's acceptable on YouTube. So the contract says, "Oh, if we give you less money if your videos get demonetized," which kind of makes sense because they make money off the videos, revenue, and if they're demonetized, they can't make money off them. So that's standard commercial contract. I'd have thought. What?
So his contract would sign him to make videos for YouTube for Daily Wire, or they were his own videos.
So for the Daily Wire, I think it was 3 90-minute shows a week or something.
And then they would be put out on YouTube.
Yeah. And other, Daily Wire probably have Lotus Eaters has got the whole sort of ecosystem behind a paywall. So it's not YouTube, is hosted on like Odyssey or Rumble or something, so it keeps it safe from YouTube demonetizing it. But then you've also you pay a subscription to get access to that, sort of like Free Speech's Patreon.
Only updated.
Yeah. And when they record stuff, it actually goes out.
Record. Yeah.
so whose sides?
That's what you're paying the money for. That's what the 50 million is for. There, when someone presses record, it records. That's value.
So whose side are all the conservatives on?
Well, man, a lot of people have been coming out and taking Stephen Crowder's side and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But I mean, it's like people are like, "Oh, it's just you're doing it for money." It's like, well, yeah, obviously, everybody does everything for money because people want money, so they can buy fucking Pop-Tarts and cans of beer or whatever. Everything you want costs money.
Internet.
Apart from maybe having a family. Actually, that costs money.
That definitely costs money.
Definitely costs money.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a family and abandon it, I think that doesn't cost money.
That doesn't cost money. But that's not a very conservative thing to do.
No.
But yeah, man. So everybody's like, and also left-wing people have been coming out and being like, "Oh, look, he's grifter. They're grifters. Oh, he's getting 50 million over 4 years. What a grifter!" It's like, oh man, yeah. Heaven forbid that somebody should enter into a voluntary agreement with someone where they get paid for providing services.
But I think that
instead of just like a state broadcaster telling you what you can listen to.
What I think the people's issue was, or the tweet that I saw, is that he published, like, he was recording a conversation without the other guy knowing, and then posted that conversation up. So he was having a chat with Mr. Head of Daily Wire, not Ben Shapiro, some other dude, and then he released that audio of that conversation, and it was kind of like, that's kind of a shady thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Record someone while they're not really aware of it. We should actually do that with NICO. We should just put some cameras in his house so we can get him on this podcast. I don't know what's happening.
We had a big meeting. Well, we could have recorded this on Sunday. I would have actually been in the hostel with proper internet there.
Yeah.
And less echo. Anyway, Pamela Anderson alleges that Tim Robbins, I think not Tim Robbins, Tim the Tall Man Taylor.
Not Tim the Tall Man
Taylor. Yeah, Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Tim Allen.
That's
flashed his penis at her.
Flashed his penis
in the night. Yeah, he flashed her in the night. He said, "I've seen you naked. It's only fair you see me naked." And he flashed her.
I mean, that's pretty. The one thing I've got to say about when you got a comedian of the caliber of Tim Allen or Louis C.K., their sex crimes are funny. They have funny sex crimes.
Tim Allen's not just
very funny.
Tim Allen is a
that's a great line.
Drug smuggler.
Tim Allen is.
Tim Allen went to prison for smuggling cocaine.
What?
Yeah, but it was it was like in the 70s when it was cool. It was like
and he had a moustache.
Cool. Yeah, and in 1978 he faced imprisonment, but he made a deal, which eventually led to fame and fortune. So yeah.
Was he young?
Did you?
I don't know. In 1978, I don't know what his age is.
I bet he was young.
Did you ever see his stand-up?
Was it good?
I don't know. I never saw it. I'm asking if any of you seen it. You know who's got amazing, who's quite good at stand-up that will surprise you? Biff
Darius
from Back to the Future.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
no,
really?
Not me, I'm shit. Yeah, Biff from Back to the Future. He's good at stand-up, and then he does this song where he answers all the questions about Back to the Future. But it's funny. He's good. And that was and what actually the free speech. Our loyal listeners have been asking us questions. Actually, maybe we should talk because we should answer some of the questions that.
Let's answer some questions.
Phase 4 of the MC. Okay, I'll ask. Jason asks. Phase 4 of the MC.
Jason, is it not Jason?
No, it's Jason. And then space SOH. Listen, don't mock our listeners.
I'm not mocking
Phase 4 of the MCU. MCU. What was that all about? Phase 4 of the MCU.
What's he talking about?
What are your opinions on
What's
that?
What's the MCU? Is that cricket?
Well, at least you're up to date with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, I'm not a fucking 8-year-old child. I'm sorry, Darius and Jason. Sorry for not being interested in child's cartoons like a nonce would be.
But you did watch She-Hulk.
Is that in the MCU? Oh.
Yeah, that's in the MCU.
Very funny. Oh, you got me there. She-Hulk was great.
Okay, but I think the question he's asking is... Oh, wait, hold on. The question he's asking... I'll rephrase the question so that Leo can understand it.
When you rephrase it.
So he's saying, why? What do you make of the way that they went super woke with all their releases? So they brought out the Eternals drizzling shit. They brought out She-Hulk drizzling shit. They brought out the new Dr. Marvel movie drizzling shit. All their things were super woke, super pushing the message in your face, and they just failed. So it's like, what was it all about?
Money.
It was obviously about the message.
Basically, people.
It's not about money because they lost loads of money.
Yeah, but they thought, what is going to make money? All right, if we just go, oh, this is stuff that people want to fucking see, and they would because I've been doing a lot of this research with like why brands do a lot of this woke stuff or portray themselves in a certain way. It's to align themselves with people's values. So if they think, okay, this brand has got the same values as me, they become more endearing to it, and they're happy to sort of put their money down with it. So that's why I think, well, that and ESG, is why there's a lot of people, or why big brands wanted to go a bit more woke and be more empathetic and seem to be more caring and progressive.
The whole ESG thing is so dumb. So it's environmental, social, and governance, and it's basically ethical investing. And BlackRock, all these big funds, all the venture capital funds, everything is sort of, and also corporations, they have it embedded in them, so they'll only do stuff. They've got to prioritize minorities and all that. So you got to have like lots of transgender people in your
there's loads of stuff, and it's
there's loads of stuff. But for investment, so there's a lot of ethical funds. Historically, they've been, we're not going to invest in weapons manufacturers, and we're going to invest in things like tech and stuff like that, because that's helping people, and it's seen as ethical. But then like the Ukraine war happens, and so you got like BA Systems or whatever make weapons that are now getting donated to Ukraine or being bought by Ukraine, and it's like, so surely that's ethical now. Fucking make these moral judgments about what's ethical or not. And then
those weapons are now being used to kill white people, so it is a little bit more. It's diversity on the use of those weapons, whereas previously it was just majority of brown people. As a proper racist,
I don't consider Russian people white, so you take that back, Mooch. But and also these tech firms, they're not fucking ethical. They're using Chinese slave labor and stuff, like literally like the Uyghur Muslims and stuff that nobody seems to care about in the left. It's I think the whole ESG thing is so flawed.
But here's the thing, you know what's strange? Because I think it actually starts at a grassroots level, because I'm here at the Perth Fringe, and I sent you the pictures, Leo. There was like a wall of all the shows that they're showing at like the main part, their main thing. And literally every other show has got a drag queen, or it's LGBTQ, or there's something, pushing that kind of message. Yeah, fine, fair enough. But it's every other show. But it's in the main hub. So people must be going to this show, right? They must be going. So maybe is it the left go out more to grassroots events, such as Soho Theatre, which we all consider wank, but they all turn up and go there, and that's where the opinion makers form. Yet somehow when it gets past there into the mainstream, that doesn't carry. So how
I don't know if that's true. I think there's always been a market for this sort of stuff, but and if you think about it, like if you go to a fringe festival, it's full of like theatre lovies and stuff like that, as opposed to more of a traditional comedy club touring comic. Do you know what I mean? It's lots of, it's like the Fringe. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of university students and people who are into more of the theatre and that sort of side of it, and that kind of is quite a bubble environment of people who speak a bit like this.
But they're the people who turn up and go out to these shows. Like, where are all the so-called conservative people turning up to these shows or running these kind of, like, I guess, grassroots events, more or less?
Well, I don't know if it's. I think also it's probably to do with an age thing. Like, everyone at university is more socialist than they are when they are probably 40 or something like that.
But let me reformulate my question. So what I'm saying is, okay, they're turning up to like the Fringe and they're turning up to these events, but why are they not showing up then to stuff like the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4?
Well, the thing is, I don't think those shows are actually as popular at the Fringe as you might think they are. You're saying numbers are down, shows seem quieter. People, man, they don't want all this. I mean, it might be a fun thing to go to see a drag show and stuff, but like, you don't want to go and see 10 fucking drag shows. And it's not really I think most people still don't see it as a family entertainment thing.
Well, I think there's it's massively
Mooch
wrong there.
does, but...
Drag is huge. Like, RuPaul's Drag Race is one of the biggest TV shows out there, and that being so popular across all of the different sort of syndications of it means that people want to go out and see drag because, oh, wicked, that seems like a bit of fun, blah, blah, blah. How many brunches are like, you can't go to a brunch without it being a drag brunch these days. So that there's definitely...
Yeah, but then you got brunch. You get the food and the booze.
Yeah.
I mean, those things have always had, drag hosts and stuff.
Yeah, but it's definitely gone through the roof since through the success of RuPaul's Drag Race. Do you know what I mean? That's been sort of huge, and I think that sort of trickles down, and now everyone kind of just sees it as like a bit more. But
I think people on social media, they'll be all these woke people. They'll be like, oh yeah, no, we need more representation and blah blah blah. We need more, women's football. Women's footballers should get paid equally. We need more. Oh, the pale stale meal's over. But then, what they're actually going to do for real, what they're going to spend their money on for real, even they don't want to have a lecture. You know what I mean? So you see it with stuff that's put out and it's not as popular as you think it was. There's still the only time it works is like with the Scooby-Doo thing, Velma. So they put it out and everybody hated it, but it created so much controversy that it was like free advertising. And then it got renewed because it was the most watched cartoon because everybody's watching it to see how much they hated it.
It's been renewed.
Yeah, it's the most watched cartoon ever.
No shit.
Well, I think the other thing that's great with drag is that it's very low cost, and it's kind of like a cover act, but it's just one person sort of doing it. So these drag
cover acts of a woman.
Yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem for drag being so popular. I think some drag shows could be child friendly, but the ones that we see are because the ones you see where it's very, very sexual is not cool. But like you've got traditional things like Widow Twanky and stuff like that, where it's always been okay and it's always been cool and it's not really sexualized. There's different types of drag.
Well, yeah, because people always say, like, the family sex show and all this, all the drag queen story hour in libraries and schools for children. People are like, oh, but why are you not upset about pantomime? And it's like, well, they're on stage like miles away and they're not trying to indoctrinate the children.
Drag is getting tarred by the same brush as it. So like, when I've seen a drag show, it's not always been crazy sexualized, but when you and I was kind of like, hey, I don't know what the big deal is about, and then you see some of these videos and you're like, oh, that is not cool, really. You know what I mean? You can't have kids stuffing dollars into like someone's G-string. That's not cool.
Did you see the picture of the Argentine dancer with his adopted son and the microphone, so it looks like he's sucking his dick? That's gone viral.
What?
Yeah, that's you heard what I said. So there's a picture circulating. This Argentine singer.
I don't want to search for it in
flamboyant. Case I get... No, it's on Twitter. But it's basically he took the mic. It's absolutely like crazy. Like it looks like he's getting his dick sucked by like his 5-year-old son. And there's a lot of being like, I don't know. There's just there was a story that's been completely ignored about a gay couple in America. They adopted sons. They became millionaires. And they'd been basically making child pornography and selling it online with their sons. And it's just gone completely. No one said anything. No outrage. It's like this story's outrage. It's not like, these guys should be. They literally became millionaires from making child pornography with their adopted kids' sons. And there's pictures of them like, love is love and all that shit. And it's just like, come on now. You can't say that.
They were celebrated in the media as like, these are. What a progressive household, and all these bigots that say that it should be a man and a woman. Well, look, this gay couple are really successfully raising a couple of kids, and then it turns out they're actually noncing them. But you can't really share that without looking like you're implying that that's all gay couples.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the same as like someone going, "Hey, look at all these comedians who have turned out to be Nazi. They must all be fucking Nazi." And I get that.
No, but
I wonder who the next one's going to be.
But this
is speculate.
But this is a different story though, because the actual story isn't that they were like, okay, they were just. The thing is, it wasn't like, oh, it's a regular gay couple, right? Like they get up, they go to work, they've got kids, the kids go to school, they watch Green Chill, they just live the same life as you and I. This was an overtly outspoken gay couple demanding that we should be allowed to adopt kids and we should be able to teach this in school, and really pushing the activist side of things. Like, for me, it was a red flag. And for most people look and go, okay, you want those kids a little bit too much, right? I think when it comes to kids, like, people say, do you like kids? I'm like, listen, I like my kid, but just about enough. Like, I put up with other people's kids. If I see someone,
well, you like your own kid, Darius. Is that why you're in Australia for a month?
I was banished.
Were you banished?
Actually, it's. I do miss my child. Yeah. It's surprising. They say, "Oh, have a baby," then you fall in love with them, and then you end up missing them.
Yeah,
it's really gay in a non-homophobic way. But don't make me talk about my feelings on the podcast. Anyway, the point is, if someone wants kids too much, that should be a red flag. Like, listen, they want it too. Well, how are you going to let them just like no one's going to ask any questions? And they just gave them, and the thing is, they shortcutted all the safeguarding procedures to give them the kids. So the thing that should have taken like a few years, they gave it in 6 weeks. 6 weeks they gave them this kids. Like, and the kids came from this weird, the kids came from a weird Christian kind of adoption agency as well, which was another flipping whole thing.
I heard about that.
And no one's looking into that. And then they were like, I don't know if it's a graphic story. But I tell you what's interesting this week. I haven't bothered watching it.
Well, I think this is that whole adoption thing.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Sorry, go on.
That whole adoption thing, it's sort of like, man, you know how people can want to adopt too much, if you know what I mean? Same thing with like pet shops. If you had like the best customer in a pet shop is somebody who comes in and buys a hamster every week. But that's also the worst customer, if you know what I mean.
Well, no, not if they have a snake.
Yeah, exactly. You're not supposed to buy, like, you buy dead mice frozen or something. You're not supposed to buy hamsters from the pet shop. People put that on YouTube, man. They're feeding fucking gerbils to their snakes and stuff. Honestly, if I find those fucking people, I'll fucking garrote them with their own snake. And you know it's going to be some scabby cunts with fucking tattoos and nose rings and shit.
I'll tell you what the worst ones are then. Worse than that is snapping turtles. If you want to see those videos, you ever seen that?
No, what happens?
There's like this poor defenseless like mouse, and it's just put in the cage like wondering its own business. And this thing is like a spring-loaded trap, and it like goes 1 second too close, and it's cut half and instantly dissected in half, but the top half is still alive, trying to get out.
Oh, Jesus!
It snaps the game. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Jesus. And what was the thing you're saying before I interrupted about hamsters?
Ghislaine Maxwell did a phone interview from prison, apparently.
With Talk TV.
With Talk TV.
Jeremy Kyle.
Internet like? What was her internet like?
Better than yours.
No, actually, yours is great today.
She say?
She enjoys the work of Tom Binns, and I have no idea. I didn't watch it. I was out last night, just walking home, and I started watching it. And then I was like, I don't really want to be watching this just before I go to bed. I'll watch it some other time, and then forgot to watch it.
I saw it, but it's like an hour long, and I'm just thinking, why is this coming? Actually, this leads us on nicely to a question from
she must have beat up loads of people in the jail to get an hour on the phone, because it'd be a big queue for that phone. She'd have been like, listen, I'm the daddy now, smashing people in the face. She
looks a lot worse than she did before. Prison has not aged her well.
I thought prison would be really good for your looks.
Did they ask her about her Reddit account?
No. We're all discussing a video none of us have watched.
Yeah. Man, I did a whole video on that Scooby-Doo thing without having watched it. I just worked out what my opinions would be from reading tweets about it.
That's thinking smart, working smart, not hard.
Hold on, one of the questions is conspiracies. So I need to know what's going to happen next in Clown World. Ask William Sulman. Either that or Darius' skincare routine. I just had a hydrofacial. I'm not sure how I feel about it. That's my latest skincare.
What is a hydrofacial? I could do one. I'm feeling fucking haggard, man.
Oh yeah, what's the matter with you, Mooch? Why are you so sick?
I don't know. Like my wife is sick again, and then I'm a bit sick again. It's fucking just never ending. It's bullshit.
Have you tested for COVID?
No.
You've definitely got it because the vaccine gave it to you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I had to go into Bali. I had to transfer via Bali, and they still insist on having a vaccine passport. So I used the iVax app and just waltzed into their country. Could have had loads of COVID, but I didn't. And I didn't even feel bad. What are the conspiracy? Oh, hydrofacial. Hydrofacial, it's kind of like they use this little machine and it sucks out all the impurities from your face, but it continues working for days afterwards. So like 3 days later, you just have breakouts because it's getting all the dirt out of your face. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Where did you get this done in Perth?
No, I got that done in Edinburgh, but that was just the latest skincare regime. I think he really wanted to know what are our conspiracy theories coming. Like, there's not been a new thing this year. Like last year was Ukraine, year before was COVID. What's the next big thing?
Ukraine's not a conspiracy theory. It does exist, but I think the conspiracy theory, the big one. I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory. When I say conspiracy theory, I mean something that's definitely happening. So the governments are going to use climate change as an excuse to give themselves loads of powers. Because they worked out from COVID that when people are scared, they'll allow the government to have lots of powers.
Eroding our freedom.
No government ever makes itself smaller or gives itself less power or, takes in less money. We're going to see tax going up and up and up. And same with like government power. We're going to see inflation of money and government power. And climate change is going to be used. They're going to be like, oh, well, we got to for everybody's safety. If we don't do this, then it's not. We're going to close down the farms. We've got to put everything into state ownership, and it's all for our own safety to keep us safe from climate change. Even though I feel much more relaxed about climate change's impact on my life than I do about the government.
Well, Jacinda Ardern retired or resigned from being the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Just said,
New Zealand.
Yeah, can't hack it. I'm worn out. I've had enough. I'm going to go partying some bit more.
He said, "I've made enough money from Pfizer now. I started the job. I had less than 100,000 in savings, and now as I retire, as my tour of duty as Prime Minister comes to an end. In fact, let me Google while you guys talk the net worth before and after her time as Prime Minister.
Well, it can't be that much more.
Guess how much you think her net worth
is now.
But those net worth things are bullshit. Yeah. If you Google my name, it comes up with like $1 million or something. I'm worth a lot more than that. Net worth, Darius Davies.
Minus 1,600. Darius Davies is in debt to Barclays student overdraft.
But
the Darius, there's digital media headquarters of doom. Is that you?
That sounds like a company you would set up.
What the fuck is this?
I had
the Darius, there's digital.
When I had a proper job, I had to set my own company up, and I actually used to do work and stuff, and that was a real thing where I used to go in and do social media and advertising for Beck's Beer. Then I stole their Twitter.
Key financials from 2011. Cash, 25 grand. Whoa. Total current assets.
Yeah, that's right.
What's the cash? Total current liabilities. Darius.
I have 25 grand in cash at one point. Fuck, I spent all of that money literally on PlayStation games. Actually, I don't even know where it's gone. But I just frittered away 25 grand. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
She's worth $25 million. She was worth 150,000 when she started. So
she's going to be worth a lot more because they all go on the WEF lecture circuit, going to lecture in universities and stuff, and for businesses, and take on consultancy roles and lobbying roles because they got political influence. So they work for
what
companies.
They do, though, is
I think she's going to be an influencer and be selling us Herbalife and stuff. She's got 1.7 million followers now, and she's
Well, but just before we move on from climate change, Xbox have just announced that they're going to be the first console that will shut the Xbox off after X amount of hours.
Well, even if you're playing?
Even if you're playing, it's going to shut it down, not put it in power. It's going to power it down completely. So you've had it in standby and then you're playing, it's going to power it down. So it's like you're on the end level bus. It's like, sorry, due to climate change, we're going to have to power down your Xbox for the next 6 hours. Because you're a straight white male, we're going to add an extra 2 hours to that powering down to pay for your carbon tax emissions. I stole that last bit from 4chan. I found it on 4chan. But that's a true thing, man. Imagine that your device. But this is exactly what we said when they said they can cancel your socks. That just shows now they're going to start stopping you enjoying your Xbox for climate change.
Cars are going to be leasing.
Capitalism is going to save us. Because people will be like, well, I'm not having this. I'll get a PlayStation 5.
Well, that's what they say online, but then PlayStation are obviously going to do the same thing. It's funny because I was online reading just before this about people are now moaning about Oxford because they put in these low transport networks, i.e. the 15-minute city where you can come and go in. And people are like, we didn't vote for this, and then we should have a referendum. And you see all these like I want to say left wing, all these shills. I don't know if they're left wing, but they're blatant shills going, oh, of course they're, oh, what, when you voted for that. Why would you want a referendum that doesn't give you the right result, just gives you causes confusion in this? And you're like, man, no one voted to have these flipping 15-minute zones and you can't drive anywhere, because they're basically trying through any means possible to get you out of your car, get the car off the street so you can't use it. You see it now, like if you drive in,
and then
your
they
car
can
in
control
London,
you.
Yeah, but
They can control your money. They can control your car because it's all electronic.
But not even that. They're trying to make it so difficult that you don't even use the car. Like if you try and remember now, all the streets are one way, and they so for COVID we made these things so you could have more seating on the streets. It's like no one's sitting out in the streets in January. It's pissing with rain. Open up both lanes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why the car thing is so. I mean, I understand it and I see it. I see that, you know, like that it's all right, cool, car share, or you kind of lease your car rather than buy it, and you know it's all a push for electric as opposed to sort of petrol, when there's obviously not enough raw materials for everyone in the world to have an electric car. There's not enough lithium and other sort of random fucking metals that need to be mined to create an electric car for everyone.
Can I just say as well, right? When when they were trying to embroil me into Just Stop Oil and get me in as part of them, they were telling me about electric cars. It's so like the amount of like mining and stuff that goes into making one electric car is more than a lifetime's worth of petrol that you would use in a normal car. The amount of damage it does to the environment, just going in the mines, finding the lithium, the cobalt, all these things, destroying Africa. And we love the climate. The amount that goes into a car into an electric car is worse than the lifetime of the like most polluting car you could get.
That's apparently I've heard it's true. The amount of energy required to get all of the metals and stuff out of the earth is crazy. Did you see that Joe Rogan with the cobalt miner sort of expose on the guy who done a documentary on it and how these poor fucking people in the middle of Africa are just basically it looks mad. It's like a scene from some sort of Indiana Jones film where they're just all there banging fucking rocks trying to get some cobalt out, and it's all been, you know, on the.
That's what mining is.
No, but like on all the corporate websites, it's kind of like cool. You know, they're anti this, they're anti that, and they make sure that it's clean mining, and it's kind of there was a word for it. It's not like people in a mine; it's a machine doing it.
Yeah,
It's families, it's
kids,
you know, single mums and their kids on their back, sort of just.
Good to see they're working, doing something other than Herbalife and Tupperware.
Man,
good.
this is my whole thing with this.
Part.
Is it's so hypocritical, but everything they do, that's like everything that anytime they be kind doing this, it's so hypocritical. It's all fake. It's all for show. Nothing is true.
Yeah.
Nothing. They don't believe in anything they say. They want you to do it, but they don't want to do it. Greta Thunberg. Oh look, she's being arrested. Greta Thunberg's being arrested by the police, and then there's 2 days later, there's the video of how it's staged, and she's being
it's so staged.
Escorted out and wait. I was just gonna say, just when they were proving that it was escorted, all the left were saying, "Oh yeah, but it doesn't matter because it was to spread the message anyway, so it doesn't make any difference that it was fake."
Doesn't make any difference that the fucking police are being politicized and involved in a PR stunt. Man.
And it doesn't matter that the PR stunt that it was fake because it was about getting the message across, so it was fine. It was like when Sam Harris went on trigonometry and went, "I don't care if they lied about this, and this because it got the result we wanted," and that's the kind of people that we're dealing with.
And they don't realize that, like, undermining those basic core fucking tenets and, like, you know, fundamental principles of governance and, you know, the police and other state agencies, you know, if they become politicized arms of whatever pressure group, man, what's going to happen when you got a pressure group that is something you don't agree with? You know what I mean? Then you got, like, Nazi Germany co-opting all the, you got propaganda or whatever. Anyway, I'm talking of things that are just for show and not actually doing anything worthwhile. So the Guardian did some analysis into one of the biggest carbon offset companies. So, like if you fly, you can tick a box and it'll take £2 off you and it'll say, oh, now your carbon emissions are offset for this flight. And like companies pay loads of money to offset all their carbon. And, these carbon offsetting companies are supposed to preserve rainforest or plant trees or whatever. Man, the Guardian did a big analysis. More than 90% of the offsets are worthless, and a lot of them actually do more damage, and a lot of them have got huge human rights implications. So sometimes they
might
go
start ticking
like
that box now.
they want to, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, obviously. But they'll go to a bit of rainforest and like kick out tribes and stuff. There's people living there in shacks.
Not anymore.
And this company called Vera goes in and like says, "Oh no, wait, we want to put on this thing, even though you're not damaging the rainforest yourself. We're going to kick you off this fucking rainforest because it's ours now."
Why don't we set up our own company to do that? Why do we have
because we're too?
Yeah.
Listen, we're too lazy to even do a podcast, let alone.
What other conspiracy theories are there at the moment? Other conspiracy theories. There's the.
Would you ever round up at Tesco's? Piss off, Tesco's. You got more money than me. You round up.
No,
you know when Tesco's they say, "Oh, yeah, why are they asking me to round up?"
Why can't I round down?
Yeah, round down. Well,
you do when you fucking just 5-finger discount. I've stopped stealing from Tesco's. I feel like I felt a bit guilty.
You stopped stealing from Tesco?
I've stopped stealing for a bit, yeah.
And where are you still stealing from?
Patreon from Through Speech. No, I was stealing a lip salve every now and again because the price went up 50p and I was incensed, one of these. And and then I stopped.
You know what?
Because I was
I got some sympathy with that because like I feel like I haven't actually stolen it, but I feel like Heinz products, they gouged. Man, there's no way the actual price of their stuff needed to go up as much as it did. Now it's like £4 for a fucking bottle of ketchup. It's just insane. It's ketchup. It's not some fancy ketchup from Fortnum and Mason. It's just normal ketchup. But they knew, because like everybody's putting the price up, they're like, we'll just fucking take advantage of this and like put our prices up a lot.
Apparently they've been doing that with eggs as well. Big Egg have been increasing the egg prices.
AKA ostrich.
Why? I've been watching some YouTube videos that are predicting some real doom and gloom stuff that is around the corner. And there's going to be like mass food shortages and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, let me guess what they are. Well, the food shortages, social credit score, I think that's coming some way, somehow. Digital currency is happening, which will tie you down to being able to buy what you can buy, where you can buy it.
No, it wasn't really that. It was more like the big sort of food production areas in the world are going to be devoid of the nitrates or potash and stuff that they need to make vast quantities of food, specifically like Brazil and places like that. America's actually going to be fine because they're basically self-sufficient. They're kind of quite lucky to be such a big country with a lot of different sort of geographical sort of situations. But Europe, we're going to be fucked, essentially. France is cool. France is okay. Apparently they're all right, but England is fucked, apparently.
Isn't this what they've been saying? And this is what we were saying earlier on about the Dutch farmers and also the Indonesian farmers, where they said due to climate change, you can't use this this like a nitrate that they would usually use, and they outpriced them, so they can't grow the food that's needed. And they said we've got a food crisis because we made them, we didn't allow them to use these things, and they're taking over the Dutch farmers' lands. We did kind of touch upon this earlier on.
I don't know if it's that year, or if it's more just to do with certain geopolitical things. Like I think Ukraine was like a really big producer of some fucking nitrate or something like that. And I think Canada is also a big producer of it. So, but these countries are seeing what's coming on the horizon, and they're like, well, we're not going to just give it away to people. We're going to just keep it for ourselves because we're going to need it, and people are going to be starving. I'm confusing if this is a YouTube video or that Joe Rogan episode that I saw, but as always, thoroughly researched and very insightful.
Well, what I've heard is buy nitrate.
Buy nitrate, yeah. I was just thinking that. I was like, why don't we just buy a load of that now? Or how do I start vegetable farming in my back garden and stuff like this? Should I buy some chickens?
The market will find so there's industrial produce fertilizers at the moment which aren't that sort of great for the environment or for us. I think the food that's grown with them, I think it has some sort of impact on them. We can replace it with human feces. So we should start keeping our shit.
I'm glad I've been saving that. Just get another baby and just start like producing food from the 8 nappies a day that he fucking delivers.
There's a lot of nitrogen in urine.
Well, and this is, and you lot have been shaming all these furries who wear their nappies.
What other things have we got in the WhatsApp? So we've got more from Jason. The 80s, 90s rave scene was the peak of our civilization. It's all been downhill since then. Discuss. Man, the 90s was great. Not the rave scene, though. It only seemed great because you were on drugs.
Yeah. Apparently the drugs are stronger now, but people feel that they were stronger back then but people hadn't built up a tolerance to them. But the drugs are much stronger now.
It's weird when you get old people who take drugs.
I was watching a Vice documentary about it, and it was kind of tragic, but also it was weird. So old people going to raves.
Perth's got
I guess if you're raving in the early 90s, when you're like in your early 20s, you'll be like in your 50s now.
That's not true. I'm not in my 50s.
You're not. You do look very cool. You look like I think you're going to look exactly like this when you are an old man. Just the beard will be a bit grayer.
I need to go back to Turkey. I've just noticed on this. I've got a bald.
Where?
A bald.
What's happened to Ollie Crease? We've not had a new Ollie Crease in a while.
But maybe it's because we've not been so prolific. He's like, I'm not wasting my time on these guys if they can't even make it.
Oh no, there was a what's his name? The Black Book's Father Ted guy.
Oh yeah, that was good. Glinner. I tried to get him on the podcast, but he ignored my tweet. Maybe if I said I was a woman, he would do it. I'm gonna interview some of the comedians here for a 3 speech on the road. There's a few comedians out here that might be interesting to interview. Some guy on our Twitter. This is an interesting one. Stephen C 1984 wants to know regarding the Sheffield container park. He's explained a little summary, so I'll read it to you.
Oh shit,
briefly.
Man! You know what? Sorry to interrupt.
What?
The Ollie Crease Twitter account has been suspended.
What the fuck?
Oh, you know what? Because he did actually say some stuff that was pretty... Man, I wish I'd downloaded all that stuff.
Well, it'll be on his Instagram.
Well, yeah, but what if that's been... Oh, it's still there.
No,
let's see if stuff's been deleted.
I can't believe Ollie Crease's Twitter's been deleted.
I'm going to download all that stuff.
Download it, it's good.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I wasn't saying, but loyal, long-time listener, Stephen C, 1984, says the following. He wants us to discuss the Sheffield Container Park. Briefly, Sheffield Council wanted to use 8 shipping containers for pop-up shops and a big screen during the Women's World Cup as an attraction for the city. It was delayed due to the original location being a sewer access and finally opened several months late. It's now closed within a few months with a total cost of over £420,000. Yet the council, quote, has no money. I wonder why. Also, we have the, quote, clean air zone coming into force next month. Our city centre is already overrun with zombies on spice, so not sure why anyone would want to visit us anyway. So I guess this is... Well, listen, let me tell you, Stephen, when she comes into power, Eddie Izzard is going to make a real difference there. She's really going to fix Sheffield.
Yeah.
I thought Sheffield...
What do you think about that Sheffield?
Isn't it built? Are there giant nuclear reactors there or something? Just as you drive in, there's just these 2 giant chimneys. What's that?
Sellafield. Is that Sellafield?
Sellafield.
No, Sellafield's up near where I grew up. I've been to Sellafield. It's near. Sellafield? It's like Carlisle kind of area. It's where you go if you've got a field and you want to sell it.
Or it's where you go if you got sellotape and you want to plant it. Well, what do we think? What do we think about the Sheffield container part?
Whoever made that £400 million, well done to you. For
420,000
for finessing the system.
I think it's just basically, Stephen. I think the council just doesn't care about you. No one cares. This is what I've learned. My opinion. You just got to do what's best for you and your family, because that's what everyone else is doing in the government, in the council.
I disagree. I think you've got to change things, make it better. You can be the change.
I used to naively.
Make
you can. A better place. You can start with the man in the mirror. But this thing about Sheffield Council. So councils, any form of government, is automatically going to be terrible at spending money. It's going to be corrupt. I bet there's money going into Hammond's in Scotland with the SNP. Hammond's everywhere. You got money. Hammond local authorities that I work for. You could see it happening.
Apparently,
man.
Oh, hold on, I've got some news about this, because as you know, Louis, good friend of mine who must come on the pod one day, lives in Chesterfield, and he told me that there was a schism between Sheffield and Chesterfield, and there was a big fight, and somehow Sheffield took over Chesterfield's council.
Is this kind of like a military coup or something like this, or is this just a political thing?
I don't know. To be honest, that's a pretty rubbish story. Another one of mine.
Think about what you've done.
Sorry, Leo, I interrupted you. Sorry, you were telling us about extravagant waste of government money.
All governments just waste money, because there's 4 ways to spend money. I was talking about this on my own Patreon live stream this week. There's 4 ways to spend money. You can spend your own money on yourself. You can spend someone else's money on yourself. You can spend your own money on someone else, and you can spend someone else's money on someone else. And if you're spending your own money, you're going to get the best deal because it's your money. You care about it. If you're spending money on yourself, you know exactly what you want. You're going to get the best thing that you want. Like if you're going to buy a car, you got like a family, you're going to get a people carrier. If you want to look cool and go fast, you're going to get a sports car. You know what you want. The government is consistently spending other people's money on other people. So it doesn't know what they want, and it doesn't give a shit about the money because it's not their money. So they're automatically going to spend, just the basic sort of bedrock of government spending is based on a bad idea. They should just cut taxes, and then like the private sector will come in, and if somebody in the private sector will be like, I can set up these fucking shipping containers for like pop-up shops or whatever, and make money off it, and they'll do a much better job, and it'll actually make money because it's somebody who cares about making money.
Yeah,
I prefer spending other people's money on me. That's the best one. The second one.
You should work for the government.
I think he'll try. I don't know if they'd let him in.
I did.
You did?
I did work for Transport for London for a little bit, which is technically a government agency. Well, yeah, it is tfl.gov.uk. I got fired.
I got fired from them as well.
Oh, we were talking about stealing from Tesco. Did I ever tell you about National Teething Day? Good story. No. Every Saturday when we were teething, well, it's National Thieving Day, but we would call it National Teething Day. Every Saturday we'd just go out and go shoplifting. And we went to, I stole like a remote control RC, remote control boat, remote control car. And then we got this remote control car, walked into Tesco, stole all the battery, like literally walked in, took 2 things off the 2 fridge milkshakes off the thing, took all the batteries, put the batteries in the car, drove the car out, thought, so easy, right? Then we went back in the evening after stealing this remote control boat. I was a different time in my life then, obviously, as a kid. And then we got caught by the security. Technically, I'm banned from every Tesco's in the United Kingdom. However, they don't know what I look like anymore. Fuck you, Tesco. Fuck you, good. And WH Smith, I'm banned from them as well.
What are you going to go to a
but they couldn't prove it
over in Australia because they still have them over there? They've got Woolies.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but
we got lamb.
But it's not the same Woolworths. It's not the same Woolworths, though, is it?
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm banned from WH Smith because they had an honesty box, and we used to put like 50p in it and take all the papers on the way to football. And then the guy caught me and said, "You put 50p in?" I went, "No, I put like loads of money in," and he didn't believe me. Yeah, but there's loads of money in there from other people and me.
Well,
why did you need all the papers?
We used to play football in Youghal East, so we'd just on the way to the train, we just read all the football.
Oh, I think when you took all the papers there and just put like 50p in, or you just took one of everyone.
No, so we took like the Sun and the Times or whatever it was. Yeah, maybe that story wasn't as great as I thought. Maybe we dwindled out of things to say, and we should do a Patreon episode.
Maybe
before I incriminate myself any further. All right, Simon. Listen, thank you for sticking. If you've listened to this much of the episode,
this has been really a bad podcast. I'm sorry.
I wish we hadn't lost the good one, the one with Junior.
Oh, the Junior. It was so everything was like it was.
We can put it up with shit audio though. Let's put it up with shit audio. Maybe clean up the audio.
Yeah,
Simon can do his magic tricks.
He can do that. He's good with that. He's got audio. He's got Adobe Effects or something. But before we stop, if you're listening to this in Australia, by any chance, and you happen to be in Perth, come and see my show. Don't be shit. It's I don't know what time it's at, and I don't know where it's at, but it's on and Hate and Live.
How can you not know where your own fucking show is?
That is wow.
Oh fuck! I'm too
Where's
tired,
your show?
man. I'm still jet lagged.
Well, do you know where it is?
The mess hall, but it's got about 1 million rooms. I don't know the name.
Oh right. Is it
the
with
mess
Alan?
hall in Edinburgh? Yeah, it's with Alan. But and also, he hasn't even put Hate and Live up on the thing yet, so I don't even know. We'll get there in the end. Anyway, thank you. Bye.